One moment, he was staring at an abyss of disappointment. The next, he was carving a scarlet-red path through Imola's tight confines. Lewis Hamilton's weekend began in despair, yet 24 hours later, he ignited the grandstands and rewrote the story of his first season with Ferrari. Every fan in the packed grandstands felt the swing from gloom to euphoria as the seven-time world champion, now dressed in red, turned a lackluster qualifying into a Sunday masterclass. This is the tale of how an 11-time pole sitter who qualified only 12th still stole the spotlight, why the rest of the grid should be worried that the old master has finally clicked with the prancing horse, and how a single afternoon in Emilia-Romagna might alter the narrative of the 2025 championship. Cold asphalt and a fading spring sun punished the SF25, its tyres refusing to reach the sweet spot of temperature and pressure. Both Ferraris slid ignominiously out of qualifying segment 2, Charles Leclerc in 11th and Hamilton right behind in 12th, their dashboards lit with tyre warnings they could not solve. Inside the garage, arms folded and voices hushed, engineers watched their home race unravel before it had even started, while 240,000 expectant supporters on the grassy banks went eerily quiet. For a team desperate to close the gap to McLaren and Red Bull, that qualifying result felt like a gut punch. And yet Hamilton, poring over telemetry while the mechanics packed away soft compound sets, quietly vowed to turn Sunday into a demonstration of willpower. It would require clean overtakes on a circuit where even a daring driver struggles to pass, razor-sharp tyre management, and a little fortune in strategy. But the champion loves nothing more than a complicated puzzle. When the 5 red lights vanished into the Imola sky, Max Verstappen rocketed from the less rubbered side of the grid and swept around Oscar Piastri at Tamburello, snatching the lead with a flourish that set the tone for the afternoon, while debris from minor midfield contact already littered the runoff. Farther back, Hamilton's scarlet machine leapt forward like a coiled spring. He dispatched Nico Hülkenberg before Variante Alta, muscled past Pierre Gasly on the dash to Ravazza, and threaded the needle between the Alpine pair on the Curva Tamburello exit, each move clean, each breakpoint daringly late. Within 3 tours, he flirted with the top 10, proving that Imola's ribbon of tarmac will yield if a driver balances patience with ruthlessness. Up front, McLaren's attempt at an early undercut backfired when a sticky wheel nut turned Piastri's first stop into an agonising crawl, handing Verstappen breathing space he never relinquished. Ferrari's pit wall responded by stretching Hamilton's medium compound stint, gambling on clean air over short-term track position, hoping the unpredictable rhythm of modern Formula One would throw them a lifeline. Just after 1/3 distance, Esteban Ocon's Haas stuttered out of Aqua Minerale and halted in a plume of steam, summoning the virtual safety car that compresses gaps without entirely erasing them. In the modern era, a VSC stop can save as much as 10 seconds, and Ferrari seized that discount. Hamilton, who had massaged his medium tyres with uncanny care, dived for fresh hard compound boots, emerging into pristine asphalt, while midfield rivals trundled at restricted pace. The quick call vaulted him to the edge of the top 6 and, crucially, kept his tyre set 9 laps younger than Leclerc's. Over the radio he offered a single calm word of thanks, then flicked the steering wheel back to race mode. From the grandstands, the Tifosi sensed momentum tilting. One veteran, armed with data and daring, was pulling the Scuderia forward, while their longtime star languished in dirty air. Imola, which has seen more strategy heartbreak than most European circuits, appeared ready to script another twist. On lap 46, Andrea Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes erupted in a cloud of white smoke at Variante Villeneuve, forcing race control to deploy the full safety car and wiping out every hard-earned gap. Cars dived for tyre blankets, mechanics jogged into pit boxes, and the field reformed in a neat queue behind the silver AMG that would dictate their pace. Now, the Grand Prix became a 10-lap sprint. Verstappen led, the McLarens eyed each other warily, and Hamilton sat 7th on tyres barely 7 laps old. His race engineer whispered, "Opportunities coming, focus on exits," to which he replied only with heavy breathing and a flick to a higher battery harvest mode. Around them, yellow flags waved, marshals hustled Antonelli's stricken car behind the barriers, and global viewers settled in for the crescendo. Imola's track width is scarcely wider than 2 modern cars in many spots, yet history says bravery beats geometry when the chips are down. When the safety car peeled into the pit lane and the track returned to green, Hamilton latched onto Alexander Albon's Williams like a shadow. Out of Ravazza, he deployed stored energy, dragged alongside on the run to Tamburello, and forced the Thai British driver off the optimal line before slicing through. No wheel spin, no contact, just surgical placement. Next came the showdown every Ferrari insider had dreaded. Leclerc, nursing hard tyres a score of laps older, could feel the heat sensor's bleeding temperature each time he braked for Variante Alta. Hamilton filled his mirrors through Acque Minerali, rolled to the outside at Piratella, and swept around in a move so audacious, even seasoned mechanics admitted they had never seen a Ferrari attempt an overtake there in living memory. It was clean, respectful, devastating, and symbolic. The veteran restaking his claim as team spearhead, while tens of thousands of red-clad devotees erupted in disbelief. Leclerc could do little but tuck in behind and watch the crimson number 44 disappear toward Albon's rear wing. Verstappen crossed the line first, 6 seconds clear of Lando Norris, with Piastri completing the podium, while Hamilton finished fourth after gaining 8 places on a circuit where overtaking is supposedly impossible. Albon held an inspired 5th. Leclerc salvaged 6th, and the grandstands erupted in a wave of relief rather than triumph. Climbing from the cockpit, Hamilton pointed to the Scarlet Sea and declared, "That drive was for the Tifosi," words that rolled through the paddock like thunder. Later, Leclerc admitted the timing of both neutralizations had hurt, though the tightness in his voice hinted at a deeper concern: the sudden shift in status within Maranello's walls. Journals around the paddock buzzed with talk of altered pecking orders, while Hamilton's grin, broad yet measured, suggested he understood exactly what his performance had set in motion. It was not merely a haul of 12 precious championship points. It was proof of concept. Confidence is oxygen in Formula One, and Hamilton's comeback arrives just as the calendar turns toward Monte Carlo and Barcelona, 2 circuits where a driver's sensitivity to mechanical grip can mask aerodynamic rough edges. Ferrari's engineers now possess tangible evidence that their newest recruit can bend an imperfect package to his will, even under cold track conditions that traditionally expose Maranello's design flaws. Meanwhile, Leclerc faces a unique psychological challenge, racing not only Verstappen and the McLarens, but also the spectre of his own expectations in a year many predicted would crown him the team's undisputed leader. Red Bull leave Emilia-Romagna relieved, McLaren depart conflicted, Williams travel south on a cloud of optimism, and the midfield pack tightens like a concertina behind them. Inside Ferrari, the urgent questions multiply. Whose feedback guides the next upgrade? Which voice dominates in Friday debriefs? And when a late call must be made, whose strategy takes precedence? Hamilton's 4th place did not answer those inquiries, it merely ensured they can no longer be deferred. Imola did not deliver a miracle victory, yet it may prove more valuable. A galvanizing moment that convinces Ferrari their 2025 project can still upset the established order. If the factory matches Hamilton's resolve with decisive aerodynamic tweaks and sharper strategy calls, this comeback could stand as chapter 1 of a renaissance. If momentum stalls, it will survive in memory as a glorious flash. For now, the message to rival teams is unmistakable. Count Lewis Hamilton out at your peril, especially when he commands a red car and the roar of 70,000 Italian voices. The streets of Monte Carlo lie only days away, the champion has tasted blood, and the season that once looked settled now feels wide open once more.